Good now, everybody, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. It's your place for helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions from me, Evan Mann, your good friend, Mr. Alex Popovic, Will Watson, and who knows who else is going to be here today because it's Panel Tuesday. I think we're expecting Mac Lorden. I hope we'll get to see maybe Casey, maybe our friend Daniel, maybe our friend Glenn. Oh, let me turn my little note taker on. And we'll get this thing going. So what's everybody doing today? It's Tuesday, which means it's not Monday, thank goodness. The market is still a little red. So let us know how you're feeling, what you're doing here on the Rise Up Morning Show. This is your reminder that we are here every time to do everything we can to make your journey through the crypto space a little less overwhelming. Alex, good to see you, brother. If you need to catch up with the show, you can do so on YouTube. You can do so by signing up for our newsletter, by jumping in the free general chat of the Discord community, hanging out with the Faceless Many, even when the show is off the air. You can find all the links at the riseupmorningshow.com. And I was just thinking about POAP. We haven't done a POAP in a while, but we've both got conversations going with POAP people, so stay tuned. If you're like, what the hell is a POAP? More on that later. I wanted to ask you, Alex, obviously how you're doing, but also to tell us about the conversation you were part of yesterday, because it was a real great space, man. You guys covered a lot of ground. Like a lot of cool people there, man, yourself included.
Yeah, no, it's a really good time. I love doing that one. I did want to go over some of the stuff, so let me grab my notes actually, because I thought they were here, but they're not.
What a nerd. Okay, cool. Good afternoon. Hello, welcome. I'm going to bring Will up to the stage. As you're getting here, let us know how you're doing.
What a nerd!
What a nerd!
What a nerd! What a loser!
Loser.
How you doing? I love the salmon color palette, salmon to red that you got going on.
Thank you. I think it's you know, how many shades can I fit into one square is what we're going for. If I had just one more, I'd do it.
Is it possible to like change the lighting and turn it to like peach?
Oh my
It's
god.
kind of already peachy now.
I don't know. I have hair on my tongue. But
I feel like that has to happen a lot.
We could probably figure it out. I wish I have just the standard, you know, Newegg Chinese issue ring light that comes with two colors, white light and orange light. So probably not. I'd have to upgrade, but maybe that'll be in the future. The Rise Up After Dark show can get a purple strobe.
Yeah, do that after you upgrade your phone.
Hey, good news. The phone is coming. It's on the way.
Oh.
I know, right?
Exciting time.
Got the phone.
Exciting times in the Rise Up Kingdom.
Yeah, seriously, truly. I'm looking forward to it. And I don't know what it is, Will, but I just feel like I haven't seen you in forever, man.
It does kind of feel like it's been a minute.
It doesn't feel like that.
How you been? You good?
We got to catch up, man. You look just like I remember you, my boy.
My boy. Oh, sorry. I have vines wrapped around cords. I'm here. I'm listening. But so, Alex, what event did you host or something? Something with notes? What is this?
I was on Sam Stefanina's Simplified Twitter Space yesterday, which is a decent sized show that I've been fortunate enough to do now 2 times. It's just like a legitimately good Twitter space with good topics of conversation and solid, pretty stacked panels. It's very gaming focused. That's their whole niche within Web3 gaming. So one of the things I'm doing with them is trying to help, bring a little bit of visibility to their stuff from TikTok. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more about that. Sam wrote me yesterday and said he wanted to do another thread. So he did a pretty big thread that was like, what do Web3 gaming founders actually think about Web3 gaming? And it was all like an anonymous interview thing with like 6 different people. And it was pretty insightful. I did a video on it. So he wants to do another one of those, but this time with Mike, tatted lawyer, the SEC or ex-SEC attorney. So work on getting that set up. But yeah, it was good. We talked about a pretty big, well liked and respected group called the Beacon within Web3 gaming that is about to start an NFT mint, a 10K NFT collection that they're asking a pretty significant chunk of money for.
Okay.
And everyone is pretty upset about it.
Yeah, I get that.
So there's that. So we talked about that quite a bit, and we can go into some of those details. Talked about who is the king of Web3 gaming, and it was very interesting to get all of their perspective because so their perspective comes from like raw stats, where all the users who has the best games, who has the best performing games, who's had more games for longer, and again, mostly where do all of the players live. And I thought it was interesting because it's not the one that I think the general lay person looking at crypto right now would think is the winner.
Yeah. Well, Immutable X certainly doesn't fit that bill right now.
No, it's not. No, they are in the conversation, but it's not Immutable X. So the undisputed winner is Ronin by a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the perspective that I brought was that people who don't necessarily either know to like look up those stats or don't know where to get all of them or don't even really maybe know to look for those specific stats, and who are just going on like, maybe image, perception, what they see on social media at a glance, or what the big creators talk about who are not like in this gaming space but are just sort of generally covering the space, they would all say Avalanche. And that was kind of what we went back and forth about a little bit was, I just find that very interesting. And Base got an honorable mention.
Interesting.
From more than one person about not that they are the king or anywhere close, but that they are like on the radar of things that the big gaming people are legitimately excited for because everyone is very bullish on Coinbase's UX, UI, design, and no one underestimates the power that Coinbase brings to a network.
Yeah.
And the point that I made about why I agreed with that take, Evan, you might remember this. This is from several years ago, but I have long applauded Polkadot for their approach to decentralization and how they have conversations about decentralizing and how they straight up said when they launched, like, we are, I forget what the exact term was. Will, maybe you remember something about it was a specific kind of proof of stake that had to do with authority because they had to nominate you, like the foundation had to nominate you.
I don't remember.
The point is that it was very centralized, and Gavin had a pretty good, what I thought was a great take about it, which is just it's exactly what I have been saying for years. If you want really good, meaningful decentralization, you probably have to start with it centralized, and then create something worth decentralizing, and then effectively and publicly hand it over. Yeah. And that decentralization is a spectrum. It's not a you are or you aren't. There can be good pieces of it. There can be, things that you could do to improve it. There are, things you can do to kind of walk down the spectrum of decentralization. And I thought that if you look at Base's website, that is exactly a point that they make, that they want to like embark on a journey to decentralize meaningfully. Admitting fully that they are obviously an arm of Coinbase, a very centralized company. Base, Warpcast, Farcaster, all of these things are centralized and walking farther down the spectrum. And that is like one of their primary objectives is to, do it meaningfully in a way that doesn't skewer it. So I think Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is great. We don't need to do it, but it's an anomaly. You can't replicate that anymore. The ship has completely sailed on being able to launch Bitcoin 2.0. You can't do it. And I'll die on that hill. But there is just so much more, I think, that is well decentralized, but proving that it doesn't really work that well to just take something completely decentralized and just hand it over to people who don't really even understand it and expect them to govern it meaningfully. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So for those reasons, people were really excited about what Base was going to do for gaming when stuff starts to get launched and built, just because they see, like On-Chain Summer and the people who are going over there to do stuff and build stuff, and they're stoked to kind of see where that goes gaming wise. And then really quickly, the last two big points that we talked about with regards to tokenizing stuff in games was collections that are huge. So Ubisoft does actually quite a bit with NFTs, and they're announcing I think the next installment of a collection. I think it's called Warlords. I was not familiar with it. It's on my list of things to learn more about, but it's huge. It's like 75,000 tokens.
And the last one they launched was also 75,000. So there are going to be 150,000 of these NFTs.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about, size of the collection versus, the desire to get away from this arbitrary 10K number. And then, okay, well, what does that look like? And would a giant collection necessarily be good, bad, whatever? There was some really good talks about that, which then kind of turned into ideal ways to grow a Web3 game. But I think you can translate that pretty nicely to pretty much any Web3 focused project that wants to use a token. Like, do you start with a token launch? Do you not start with a token launch? What does that token launch look like? How do people get it? Are you selling NFTs? Are you not selling NFTs? All that kind of stuff. So it was just super interesting. And the last point to make for this, the Beacon, which is the one that announced this like $400 10K NFT collection, it was so refreshing to hear somebody point this out before me. But one of the people in the space spoke before me about this. And you can see on my notes for what to talk about when we get there, it's backwards, but just says legal in all caps with lots of underlines. Because their announcement for the NFT mint specifically said that you are buying this NFT in part to get a future allocation of their token launch.
Uh-oh.
It's just blatantly illegal. And that is a massive problem. And so I made the point. I'm like, look, that tweet is so bad that if somebody took them to court for securities violations, if they do in fact try to sell to American citizens, which every indication says that they are open to and not KYCing, that all that a prosecutor would have to do is hold up that tweet and just say, Your Honor, here you go. And that is not good for your chances in court.
I'd love to be that lawyer, though.
To hear someone talk about that. And then, of course, there was a whole lot of conversation about Dr. Disrespect. Because that was kind of
which is a real shame for Apple.
If you don't know, the TLDR is that Dr. Disrespect got booted from Twitch forever, and possibly, what's the team called? The Millions?
Midnight Society.
Midnight Society. Look at me. I don't know. Because he has allegedly been engaging with like soliciting activity from a minor, knowingly. It is alleged, apparently, but his partners are dropping. I thought there was some really interesting and good discussion about that, about what that means. I had no idea who he was until Alex turned me on to him, but is, I guess, a really big deal. And also a really big guy. He's quite large.
He is quite large. The one thing that's interesting with that situation, though, is he does say he got paid, which means he got a settlement, which means it didn't hold up in court. So, and he's not expanding upon it because of legal obligations. I mean, if you got paid, there are certain things. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what comes out of that. But one thing, too, with Dr. Disrespect going away, because he said he's going to, take time off, is it's going to be damaging to Avalanche because they had a partnership with Dr. Disrespect for the release of the game coming out on console. Pretty soon.
Yeah, wasn't there a whole game that I didn't know about it, but maybe you guys could talk about it, because that was a key part of the space, was is this game that basically is playing on the value of his personality dead in the water? It's going to be a big adoption play, supposedly.
Dead Drop is the game, and it was pretty hyped. And now the general consensus is that they're dead on arrival because
I saw that tweet from there was a journalist in the space. I followed everyone there because they were all great. But there was a journalist, Katie, and her pin tweet was, "Is Dead Drop dead?" I was like,
she's pretty good. But no, the game is just like hyper aligned with him as the figurehead.
Yeah.
And they definitely aligned a little bit too closely. The interesting thing, Will, is so the Twitch drama was 4 years ago, by the way, that he was removed from the platform, and then went to court quietly and then settled. And it's interesting how he's talked about it, because you'd think that if it was done and over and he won a settlement from it, that he would probably share something about that. And I don't know of any. I don't know of any, like, I'd have to ask a lawyer, but I don't know of any specifics wherein, like, post-settlement, part of that was like an NDA that the plaintiff.
It would be weird. Yeah.
To like, that's very strange. But then also Midnight Society's tweet announcing that they were firing him, which interestingly he twisted on his stream to then say, "I'm going to leave Midnight Society," after they had already fired him, which I thought was interesting.
It's classic.
Like, no, you can't fire me. I quit. They said that they became aware of the allegations and the drama, and they assumed his innocence. And then upon further investigation, they've decided to sever ties with him. So clearly they found something that warranted them doing what they should know is going to kill their game. I don't think there's going to be any blowback for Avalanche. I think this is all a pretty contained Midnight Society.
Specific for this one game, yes.
Yeah. But anyway, I would also be lying if I said I knew, like, really anything about it. These are allegations. I would never sit here and say, like, yeah, he definitely did it or he definitely didn't do it, because I don't know.
Straight up don't know. So were you surprised by the takeaway that everyone seemed to have, that Ronan is the king, the undisputed king of blockchain gaming? I would be curious to hear you both elaborate on that. And before you answer,
I feel like we've known that. Go ahead.
That Coinbase.com, a centralized company, put that on the t-shirt, is still offering learning rewards for the Ronan token for you to go play around, check it out, learn about their ecosystem. You can get, without spending any money, up to like $10 of Ronan.
No, it's like, Evan, it's like $50 of Ronan that you can
No, you got to spend money to get the 50.
Oh, okay.
You have to buy some assets, or you have to have assets already. But if you just do the free stuff, you can get $10.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it only takes about an hour. And I'm curious to know if your mom got all her money, because she, last we talked in Discord, was still waiting on like $5 or something to come on over. So let me know, Linda.
I'll have to
Alex, I'm curious also in that conversation regarding the moving of, or like their excitement of gaming on Base, just because like the UI and Coinbase and blah, 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 all those things make sense. But like, did they talk about how gaming is going to get on Base and how they think that's going to happen?
Yeah, so I think a lot of them were just the two big things were that knowing Coinbase and how design is so important and how much value they place on UX and UI and how much of a leader they are in the realm of onboarding, that someone over there has to recognize that video games are one of the easiest tools you can use to onboard a large group of people into Web3. And that if you have Coinbase's like App Store visibility, you could, so I think mobile is a focus that they're looking at. But then also there was a mention of the tools that exist to allow people to start doing more of their own experimentation, like through frames.
Yeah, and just for reference, one of the killer frames right now, somebody put the entire Doom game, all of Doom. You know, that's like the trend is like, but can you make Doom on it? They put Doom in a frame. So you can build games into a social post on someone's timeline on Warpcast or any other app on Farcaster. And there's no reason somebody couldn't make an arcade type app that leverages the frames feature that is purely oriented towards gaming, that takes advantage. I can put up a frame with no coding experience in an hour. Could I code a whole game into it? Maybe like a text-based game. But you can mint in game, you can click to claim, you can do all kinds of stuff. Connect wallets. It's like the tools are there.
Do you guys think, and this has been a thought I've had over the past number of 6, 9, 12 months or so, as I've been thinking about Base, is if Immutable X will just be brought into Base ecosystem since it is a Coinbase Ventures project.
Sure, and it's an L2.
Yeah.
I have no evidence or data to back this up. This is a hunch and speculation, but I assume, and I would not be surprised to see like Coinbase Ventures' biggest holdings or biggest plays. I'm waiting to start to see some acquisitions. Yeah.
Oh, totally. And if I'm Coinbase and I got the money, who would I buy more than other, blockchain layer companies? L2s.
The leading Ethereum layer 2 for gaming.
That's exactly right. Honestly, truly.
And also they're a startup company in Australia, so like why wouldn't you buy that? And also be close to have a gaming headquarters close to Asia Pacific, which is the Web3 gaming capital of the world. Seems to make sense.
Absolutely. It's a great point.
Yeah. But that's what I've been thinking.
I don't know what it would cost, but I bet they could do it.
Yeah. And so that's what I've been thinking. Like, would the people at Base make their own gaming infrastructure or like their own individual games, or would they try to like bring Immutable X in, who they are a major investor of anyway from day one? So like that's what I've been thinking. And also as a person who has a really fat stack of Immutable X, I'm just like, come on, baby.
Yeah, do you think it'd be bullish?
Oh yeah, it'd be insanely bullish. I mean, like, if you can take it into the second hottest ecosystem in all of crypto right now, yeah, that'd be great. And then you can incorporate the Coinbase Smart Wallet in with like the Immutable X Passport wallet and like all those other things, and find a way to pair them all together. It would be a fantastic pairing, I think.
Yeah,
they can get it done. I don't know what the technological hurdles all are, because Immutable X is partnered with Polygon. Base is built using Optimism. So like I don't know what the technical hurdles are here, but we're all trying to stress interoperability. So like, I don't know if there's a way. So I'm sure there is.
Yeah. I think so too. I'm catching up on the comments because I missed a couple. I posted in the Discord a link to some of the cool frames for people who still aren't on Farcast or who still aren't on Warpcast. We've got referral links. We can get you on over there. Tori's very active over there. A lot of us are very active there. It's a great place to be to start testing out cool stuff that folks are building on Base, but also increasingly other places in our space as well. And I've got the link to 100 frames, including Doom in a frame you can play.
Brilliant.
We got a question here for Will real quick.
Thanks.
I know this is sort of a segue from gaming. Oh, go ahead, Will.
I do have two things I want to mention. First of all, wait, it was Machiste who made the Logadog. Is that right?
Yeah.
It got put out again by Coinbase on Twitter the other day. I saw it and they're like, Logadog, a competition. I was like, look, Logadog. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit, there it is. Yeah, they got posted like yesterday again. I was like, oh shit, Machiste, fucking go, hell yeah. I was just pumped to see that. I was fucking sick. And then it was just I was so excited seeing this video about this dude eating like a hot dog in like Italy or whatever, and it was like not a real hot dog. But anyway, it was great. The other thing I want to let people know is Friday is a big day, everybody, because we get inflation data for the month of June. It's called PCE data, and the expectations are that it is going to actually show continued cooling of inflation, which is going to be good for the chances of us having increased global liquidity, which is going to be good for us seeing a potential recovery, short term at the very least, in crypto and financial assets across the board. So that's...
Will, I was going to ask you about that. Do you think, and I have no idea, this is a straight up pure question of which I have no, I don't know. So I've been watching your videos lately about, well, I always do, but the most recent ones just kind of talking about this stage in the market. And I saw some pretty like big names on Twitter. Not that I put, excuse the sound of my large dog falling off the couch in the background. Just about, this dip below 60, which did not hold for very long and has then recovered a little bit. And of course, all of the crypto Twitter people are just that was the bottom their next stop 80, and I'm like, seems premature to say that.
Too soon to tell for sure.
Like eventually, I would, but I guess eventually 80 is not quite as sexy of a tweet as next stop 80. And I was just going to ask you about, do you think that the bounce that we're seeing right now, the little one, because I mean, Solana did 10% yesterday, which I felt great about because without even intending to, I caught that swing.
Nice.
But I mean, is that kind of what your suspicion is, that it's, in anticipation of that being okay, or was it just like a bounce off of a new low that, enough people bought to kind of kick us up a couple percent, or what's your...
I'm in a very uncertain place because I could see it in both directions. And let me explain. I did a live last night, and I had someone ask a similar question. It was a very interesting question too, which was, "Hey, Will, this is your third bull run. In the past bull runs we've been in, were people more certain about how things were going to go, or is this market way more uncertain?" And I was like, this market's way more uncertain because I can take a look at historical trends for the past 2 cycles. I was after the first cycle I was new. The second cycle I learned how to read the charts, and I was like, okay, I got really good at being like, cool, Bitcoin's going to go here, and it's going to go here, it's going to go here, it's going to go there. I had a really high rate of accuracy, but now since the ETFs, how I have analyzed the market in the same way before has totally changed. And like the corrections we've gotten have been more bullish. The bull scenarios have been ridiculous, at least for Bitcoin and a handful of altcoins. But and so reading the chart has changed drastically because of the types of investors that are now in the market and the size of money that they have. And so I mentioned that because it adds a whole bunch of uncertainty because we got to an all-time high before the halving for the first time, and no one knows what that means. No one knows what that's going to lead to, which is why you've seen an explosion of people being like, "Oh, it's the accelerated Bitcoin theory." No, it's going to be the elongated Bitcoin theory. No, it's going to be some other thing. There are all of these competing theories that have huge camps of people. And in the last bull cycle, almost everybody was like 100K. 100K is going to happen, and obviously that didn't happen. But like there was a lot more uniformity in terms of where people thought Bitcoin was going to go in the last couple cycles as opposed to this one. So things are way more uncertain. Now, to your question, do I think that this fall just below 60K is the bottom? If I was using historical trends of how far Bitcoin falls, there's one trend that says this is the lowest. And in the time of a Bitcoin halving to the top of a cycle, Bitcoin has only ever fallen below the 200-day exponential moving average, which is right now sitting at $58,000, one time. And it was really short-lived. And we got to the 200-day exponential moving average. We made a higher low, actually, and that's where we're sitting right now. And so that's like, oh, cool, that's the bottom. However, historically speaking, we also typically treat the 12-month exponential moving average as like the bottom area of support, which is sitting at about $50,000 right now. So it's like, historically, you have two splits for the first time ever. And the reason why the 200-day is so far away from the 12-month is because we hit an all-time high for the first time since the halving. So the market got incredibly overbought. So on shorter-term time frames, this looks like the bottom given historical trends. On longer-term time frames, it looks like we have lower to go given historical trends. However, historical trends have not been a good indicator in this bull run because we have things that are different right now. So like, which one of them is going to break? Are both going to break? Is one of these going to be right? Is it the daily time frame? Is it going to be the monthly, the weekly? Typically, you put more weight on the monthly and weekly, typically. But like we're in uncharted territory right now. So like I look at historical trends and I try to make an educated guess, but it just feels like that guess is going to be wrong because I don't have any data to analyze where we are in the market right now. So when I look at people going on Twitter and saying, "Oh, this is definitely the bottom it's in," I would say no one can be confident at all right now about fucking anything. And when I look at the daily time frame, yes, we have a higher low as compared to the low that we had on May 1st and May 2nd. And we are just above the 200-day exponential moving average in that low, typically a really good area. So I can understand people thinking that, but at the same time, we're below a resistance line. From our pennant pattern, we're below our resistance, a resistance line that started forming in April. And we are also currently below the 21-week EMA. So we have some good things, but unless we get rid of these three things, there's no guarantee that we have any support that on the daily time frame can provide us any strength to overcome the overwhelming trends that we see on the weekly and the monthly. So that is why I say I'm very uncertain. I'm trying to see kind of what the ETFs are doing. I'm very curious to see how the market changes, assuming we get bullish inflation data on Friday. And also, by the way, what the expectation is. So last month, the inflation data came in at 0.03%.
Okay.
And what the Fed looks for is the Fed wants inflation data monthly to be at 0.02%. I'm writing as if that makes any sense, but it works in my brain. And so last month was 0.03. This month it is expected to be 0.028%. So inflation is cooling across the board except for in shelter, so housing costs. That's the big area where we need to see inflation come down, is the cost of housing and rent to come down if we really want to see inflation get crushed, along with oil. But so if we get that, increases chances that we'll start seeing rate cuts in 2024. The market will like that. Things should go up. And if we can get that data and the market reacts positively, and we can get above the resistance line that's been made since April, the resistance line that's been made since February, as well as the 21-week exponential moving average, now I would say you have a basis to say, cool, we have a higher low, and we've gotten above several key areas of resistance that could genuinely act as support. But if we don't get those, we don't get that 1-2 combo, saying we're heading to 80 rate.
So, is that?
So for people who aren't looking at the chart like I am, if you want a number, we need to end this week above pretty much $61,300.
Above what? Sorry.
Technically, it's $61,279, but basically 61.3K.
Yeah.
The number we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the She State, that's 100% the TLDR. It is interesting to hear.
No one really knows.
Specifics that go into it, though. Because I think it kind of helps you cut through, like, okay, why is person X making this prediction? Why is person Y making this prediction? Just because there's a plethora of people who look at exactly one stat, usually the one that aligns with the thing that they already think, because confirmation bias is everyone in crypto's love language, and it's just the most common thing you're going to see on social media. That's interesting. I mean, that's a hell of an answer.
What is?
Huh?
What's a hell of an answer? Or are you talking about Will's answer? You
Will's
look like you took some new information.
Yeah, Will. No. Will's just whole analysis there.
And that's the thing, is like, it's well reasoned. I like hearing. My favorite thing is hearing people justify why they think what they think and explain it to you, because you can hear really good explanations that you may even disagree with, that can teach you something. Yeah. I'd be really curious. I wish we had. You know who I wish we had too is Kagan. I wish he was here. I don't know if you know him, Will, Magic Internet Money, but he's a technical analyst. He's been on our show before. He's a longtime friend of the show. No hype, solid fundamentals, but just really understands the stuff and has his favorite indicators like anybody. And I would love to hear what he's saying right now too, because I don't really honestly put too much stock in it either way. The biggest attention I put in it was, I saw a tweet or maybe a cast. Somebody said Bitcoin is establishing a new power bottom, which was an iconic pride tweet. Happy Friday, everybody. I thought. So that's as far as I go. Yeah. I love hearing people talk about it.
I would let Kagan represent himself, but just to put him in perspective, he is widely regarded in like the technical analysis community as being like the guy. and he has. I think I would be curious to ask him, although he probably wouldn't talk about it. I'm pretty sure he's not a person who buys Bitcoin. I think he exclusively acquires it through trading, and he's doing just fine.
Well, that is the number one use case for altcoins that's genuinely useful. To get more Bitcoin.
Put them into Bitcoin? Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so that's, I don't know, the one thing that I took away from all that too is like, okay, so honestly, this is a good gut check moment, because there is a possibility that one of the scenarios Will just presented comes to be, which is that we go lower, right? That's always a possibility. And I would encourage everyone to look within yourself. And that feels like a movie quote from something iconic that I'm just forgetting.
You're about to teach me karate, dude.
Anyway, but just to gut check, just to like look within and look at your position and your scenario, and just ask yourself like, okay, you got to be honest with yourself, which is not the easiest conversation to have with oneself. Like, if Bitcoin goes to 50, it is safe to say that alts will not rocket while that's happening, that they will also suffer. So, how does that make you feel? Did you actually buy way more than you should have? Is there money in there that you like need in your immediate future to pay for something or, whatever? Because that's how I have to look at it all the time. I don't want to be selling anything right now, but like, okay, but my basic cost of living and my basic household operational budget, like, do I need any of this money? And that's going to influence, how you handle it. Or are you okay if Bitcoin goes to 50 and the alts bleed even more in the short term, knowing like, yes, I have some long-term convictions for X, Y, and Z, whatever, but maybe that's 8 months away. No one fucking knows. Yeah. So is that okay with you if the whole thing bleeds more and dumps for the next 6 months? Just because that is, of course, a possibility. And I realized that for the first time, Bitcoin could lose that much. Like, so from whatever it was, 73 or whatever the high was, the most recent high, if it went to 50 and the alts followed accordingly, just because of when I was paying attention, and this is why I constantly say when shit's boring, start paying attention. You have to be willing to bore yourself. Bitcoin went to 50 and the alts followed, I would probably still be in profit on every position I have, which is a pretty good feeling.
About the same, except for, I'd probably say at that point half of my positions would be in the red, because let's see, my Zeus position's in the red, my Alex Lab position's in the red, and my orange position's in the red, but I have about 15 other positions that are still in the black. But the two things I want to add on that too, different things just to think about is, what I want to touch on first is a theory that I've had since the ETFs started, and is still a theory I hold to, which is any correction period will be more bullish than it should be, because the ETFs, even when they have outflows, still long-term are basically just like, as Bitcoin's price falls down, just like a continuous thing that kind of hits Bitcoin up with the amount of money they have in their box. So that would lead us to believe that maybe for the first time, if you think that the ETFs are a force like that in the market, that we don't need to go back to some of the further down historical trends that Bitcoin typically corrected to in the past, like the 12-month exponential moving average. That would lead you to believe that the bottom that we have right now could very well be the bottom, because like a more bullish full Bitcoin correction scenario would be we come down to the 200-day EMA, but we don't come down to the important 12-month EMA. So that's like one thought process you can have there, which is a theory that makes sense. And another thing too is from the high at 73,000 to where we are right now, or actually let me measure this exactly, but it's been a correction of 23% for Bitcoin. And if you go back to just after the last halving, there were two big monthly corrections. One was 19%, and the other one, which happened 2 months later, was about 21% also. So historically speaking, however much value you want to put on that right now, if you assume historical trends are broken, you don't put too much value in it. But Bitcoin has had its correction based on how it's corrected in the past, which is roughly 20% after a halving. If you think that, then this correction is done. However, we've never been this overbought. But those are just two things I wanted to bring up for people to kind of think about.
Yeah, so we have the bacon sandwich bringing up a couple of good points. First of all, this idea that if that's the case, there's not much downside left. The fear and greed index is really low right now, which is traditionally a time people have who have bought have done well for themselves because things have gone up. But another stat that people are talking about that you've talked about before, Will, that's nearing kind of an important inflection point is Bitcoin dominance for people who put stock into that. It looks like, this is my quick search per CoinGecko, we're at almost 50% now, which is a pretty important inflection point. And if I remember correctly, because I don't follow this, really, we've been up above that for the last couple weeks, like 51, 52, 53. And you were looking for a dip below 50. Is that what you said when we talked about it last, Will, or were you looking for a different number in terms of when would you expect alts to start running? And what do you think about what Alex has said about if Bitcoin goes all the way down, alts are rough too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like for every 5 percentage points that Bitcoin goes down, altcoins in a bear market go down 15 to 20%.
Yeah. So even if Bitcoin dominance shifts and altcoins are dominant by that ratio, if Bitcoin is way down, it's still bad news bears for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
But interestingly, look at the top 50. So on the week, Bitcoin is the biggest loser. Down 6.5% this week, while Ton is up almost 5.25%. Or Cardano even, and Tron even, and Chainlink are up, and Solana is up, and Near is up 20% this week. So that's interesting.
Yes, but there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for it, which is that because the alts get destroyed so much more than Bitcoin, if you look at the indicators that show oversold territory, the altcoins have been pulverized into dust, whereas Bitcoin still isn't at completely oversold levels on weekly timeframes, whereas the altcoins are. So it's just a natural time for altcoins to finally get a breath of air because they've been so overly pulverized into dust. So this to me isn't us getting into an altcoin season. This to me is just a natural time for people to go oh, these assets are so oversold. It's like a K-drama or like a telenovela, like how badly they've been beaten by their ex-lover. And it's just time for them to get a natural little relief rally.
So would you think that has, because that's one of the things I guess we have been talking about is, interestingly, while Bitcoin has been doing what I would call normal Bitcoin things, alts have not been able to do normal altcoin things alongside because of the way that memes have entered the space and taken up more of the spotlight than they ever have before, where it was like a thing, where a few big memes would happen. We would get that rocket. It would be super short-lived, very short fuse, burnout, flame, destroy, die. The millionaires take their money, leave, and put it back into the big stuff. But now memes are much more of a mainstay. Yep. Where I literally hear, I hear constantly about blue chip memes and memes for the long term and things that no one ever publicly talked about last time with regards to the meme cycle. If you guys were here last bull run, the meme cycle was 2 weeks long and that was it. And we're here now on month 6 of just memes ripping constantly. And I always figured that just robbed so much attention from alts because there's the Bitcoin money and that's going to stay the Bitcoin money. But then the alt money from retail was going to memes because they were just better returns. So alts got pulverized. And I guess that makes perfect sense then that they went down harder, faster, worse along Bitcoin than they would have if it was a normal, I hate to use the word normal, but a more traditional, perhaps that's a better word, traditional relationship pairing between Bitcoin and alts at this stage in the market.
Well, I think it's a mistake to, at this point, I don't know if mistake's the right word, but I don't think it is correct to separate meme coins from altcoins. Because let's be honest, most utility altcoins are meme coins.
Yeah.
The exact same thing for the most part. So I would say that meme coins shouldn't be separated from altcoins, and we should look at the explosion in value in meme coins as an explosion of value in altcoins. It's been a sector, it's been an altcoin sector that has been able to do well. And in every single bull cycle, before we have an official altcoin season, before the Bitcoin dominance starts to go down, while the price of Bitcoin goes up and therefore altcoins shoot up like crazy, before that happens, you always have 1, 2, maybe 3, typically 2, trends that outperform the rest of the altcoins. And right now it's memes, it's been tokenization of real world assets, and it's been AI and gaming on and off. And then you had Bitcoin development on and off. Like you have things kind of enter and exit, right? So I would just view this as like it's just meme coins altcoin trend this cycle to be in that category. And so I would look at the performance of meme coins now and the altcoin space right now, because I'm including meme coins in that, as totally normal per the past other bull cycles. Because after a halving, it takes 30 to 35 weeks on average before Bitcoin's dominance really falls and altcoins go up. And the altcoins have been performing exactly the same this time around as they did last cycle. Like Avalanche had a 90% correction at one point in the middle of the bull run. Yeah. And it was Avalanche, and it still went up like crazy, right? So like Aerodrome right now is down 60, 65% or something like that, and it might go lower, right? But it could still end up going up like crazy. Like 60 to 90% corrections in the first correction or the second correction that we have for Bitcoin after the halving, altcoins can go down 60 to 90%, but still ultimately go up like crazy. So I've seen people in my comment section be like, oh, why aren't altcoins doing what they did last cycle? And I'm just here like, they're doing exactly the same thing as they did last cycle. Like it's exactly the same in terms of altcoin performance. In my personal opinion, my take, the altcoin market seems exactly the same if you take meme coins and include them under the umbrella of altcoins. They're just a hotter trend of altcoins. It's just like, I understand separating them because you're like, utility coins and meme coins don't have utility. But like, most utility coins don't have utility either. So
I completely agree with that take, Will, your final point. I would push back to say that it's not normal, not because of any like legitimate, like fundamental purpose of the token's existence, but in the public perception of meme versus utility. And I'm completely with you that most utility coins are memes in their own right, but they're just memes in the sense that it's a stupid business idea with no business running a token. I'm totally on board with that, but I do not think that you can say it is straight up normal for memes to be this dominant just because at least the people who buy stupid utility coins have historically been able to justify it by saying, well, they're solving this and that and this problem, and there is this and that and this use case. Whereas with memes, it's just straight up everyone admitting now, which I think, hot take maybe, but I think this is overall healthy for the crypto space, that people are openly and unabashedly saying gamble, because that is exactly what it is. And people have heard me say for years, I want all the memes to exist because this is a free and open and uncensored ecosystem. And if you want to build a meme, you can build a meme. And if people love the meme, people love the meme. And that's not my place to police or try to tell you you can't do that. As long as you're honest about how you represent it. And for the first time, we're seeing memes represented as like gambling and the slot machine and going to the casino, like Bacon just said, which is fine. Like I said, people love the casino. Vegas is popular. It's been popular. It is a hot destination because, I mean, we were just there not that long ago, a couple years ago, right? And you walk into a casino with $50 and your friends, and you get a couple drinks, and you lose your $50, and you walk out, and you legitimately feel like you had a good time. And memes finally like got to that point. So I do think it's been different because they've lasted longer, and it's just a totally different attitude that we've had towards this specific niche. Yes, but again, I completely agree with your characterization of alts being largely memey in their utility, a lot of air quotes. I'm sorry.
It's just like most of those utility coins were meme coins in disguise as utility coins, essentially.
Yes.
Because I mean, like, the nice thing with meme coins is it's like a section of crypto is finally being honest in
Yes.
that, like, hey, we suck,
Yes.
but like we're fun, and then people are like, oh,
Yes.
and then like that honesty is being rewarded as opposed to being like, hey, we have this AI chatbot that's gonna change the world, and you're like,
Yes.
oh, fuck you, snake oil salesman. I'm gonna go to this silly Wolfman land coin, whatever. But yeah. But on the point of Bitcoin dominance that Evan brought up, so we're not at 50%, we're at 54% right now, which doesn't sound like a big difference, but it's a very big
Where are
difference.
you getting that metric? Because CoinGecko gave me 50%.
Go to
I'm not disputing it, I'm
tradingview.com
just curious.
and go to BTC.D. That's the chart for Bitcoin dominance.
Got it.
That shows the live chart. It's not at 50%, it's at 54.
Yeah, okay, great.
It's actually at 54.59.
Good to know.
That's quite high.
Yeah,
It is quite high.
It's pretty damn high. And it's been at 54% and floating around here since December.
Yeah, it's like a pretty straight line if you zoom out,
very
honestly, truly.
Which is a sign of Bitcoin dominance weakening. And right now we do have a lower high on the chart because there's resistance. Because it's interesting, if you have lines of resistance on Bitcoin dominance, it still works just as well as if it was like a pricing chart. It's interesting how it works because the trading bots all look at it. But so there's resistance at 56.8%, 57%. We hit that 3 months ago, and since then we've now hit a lower high. And we've been sitting on the 55-month EMA support for a very long time. So if you want to see an altcoin season start to really kind of happen, the percentage point of Bitcoin dominance you need to see fall is basically 53.5%. That is a sign that key support on the monthly time frame for Bitcoin's dominance to hold is weakening and breaking. And if that happens, you can start to get a cascade. But so you really want to see 53.5% break and 50 to 51% break. So if we do get below 51% and 50%, yeah, it's looking like altcoin season's about to pop off, baby. But until then, we're still 4.5 percentage points away from that happening. And that could take, months, like big months.
Yeah. And I want to address a thought about people are asking, is the attention moving away from altcoins into memes? Just this point before we're talking about where's the attention. I want to put it in perspective for people that the market capitalization of meme tokens, we're talking like less than $100 billion, probably around 50. There was an article that came out from CoinMarketCap that summarized it at 54 billion last month. I'd expect it to be higher. Meme tokens have better velocity. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just missed which category.
Yeah, I'm talking about meme tokens. And the reason I mentioned CoinGecko again is one of my favorite features about CoinGecko is if you go to their little dashboard, just right from their homepage, you can arrange what you see by different sectors that they and their users have categorized. Categories like gaming tokens, categories like L2s, categories like memes, to get these kind of stats in real time. My computer is slow. It's doing a lot right now, so I'm not giving you the recent numbers. Just know it's right around 50 billion. You can take that to the bank. It's probably higher. And also that while memes have had a lot of velocity in the last several months, gaining at a faster rate than altcoins or certainly Bitcoin right now, the amount of money that's there compared to the amount of money that's in altcoins or the amount of money that's in Bitcoin, we're talking like, this much versus this much versus this much. It's just enough to be worth tracking, but it's really not significant. The people who are gambling on memes on pump.fun, as much as we like to have that narrative of Wall Street bets and David versus Goliath, they are just not the same kind of market movers that the people pouring money into Bitcoin ETFs a few months ago are. In the sense that the potential to move the market is just not as big. I don't think it's realistic to say that altcoins are not pumping because everybody is too focused on meme coins right now.
Agreed.
I think that I partially agree. However, I also think that the weight and heft of a well advertised and marketed $50 billion sector is not to be understated, because it is exclusively a crypto thing. That we could look at something that launches and immediately reaches a valuation of $1 billion, like Brett launched not that long ago, and for the only reason being that it's the first easy to understand, not a scam meme on base. For that reason alone, it is worth $1.5 billion. Like, that is fucking insane.
Yeah.
And it makes no reasonable sense, because we've never been able to assign a valuation to something based purely on vibe, memeability, and culture like this, like you can with a meme coin. So I think that has like forever altered the way that markets could be moved, or in the short term affected, just because we've never been able to legitimately place concrete value. Evan, you talk about this all the time. Value on a thing like this, a thing that is nothing, that is exclusively attention. And it makes me think to myself constantly, like, can you imagine if meme coins had been a thing, like when Bad Luck Brian, like originally became a thing, because that now would just be a meme coin. It would not exclusively be a JPEG that people slapped a funny caption on and circulated like crazy.
Sure.
I find that to be interesting, because we've just forever changed the way that memes are a thing. Like you said, the other day, right, a week ago or whatever it was, the Hawk Tua thing became a thing, and it immediately became a meme. And then immediately monetary valuation is assigned overall to at least the crypto space's perception of that meme's virality, which is just a very interesting metric to place on it, because we've never been able to do that before, sans meme coin.
Yeah.
I would say I think that 50 billion is enough to move a market, especially when right now we're seeing kind of this interesting anomaly where like institutions are not slowing down. And,
I guess what I'm saying, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And just that retail has not shown up in the same way that they have before.
No, they definitely haven't.
Like Will said, there is still considerable uncertainty.
So I guess what I'm saying is that this idea, it's almost like the people who buy candy at the grocery store also sometimes buy produce. But I don't think just because we're buying more candy, we're going to buy less produce in a measurable, impactful, going to change our society and all of our grocery stores way.
No, but like,
I don't disagree with you at all that it is significant. I'm just saying I think that it's two different classes of people and products, and we should understand it.
And I don't mean like in the long term. I just mean this Tuesday. Like if this Tuesday candy goes out the door, this Tuesday produce sales are going to suffer. But I don't mean like in general the produce market is going to die because candy had a really good week. But I just mean that candy can influence produce. I like that analogy. That's a good one.
Yeah. This conversation made me think of a very interesting bearish thought, but I want to make sure, Evan, you weren't about to say something and I'm not about to just side rail.
That's all you, brother.
Because it does have to do with meme coins. So this explosion of meme coins, which is, Alex, what you said made me think of it as like $1 billion valuation on this thing that doesn't do anything and is a joke and we all know has no value. And I was like, what kind of market does those things go up? Oh my God, a melt-up market. Do you guys know what a melt-up market is?
Yeah. Please explain it. Explain it as if we don't.
So, a melt-up market is a market that irrationally explodes upwards in terms of the valuation of assets just before economic collapse. It's a moment where all the people in the know that economic collapse is coming and are trying to squeeze out the final drops from this fruit or lemon before it gets thrown into the trash and a recession happens. In that market, a lot of the things that go up in value far exceed the valuation they should be at. It's the irrational explosion of melt up. And that can include things that have no value, like meme coins. And I was like, we've seen meme coins erupting this year. And if the markets go green, they'll keep erupting. and they have no valuation, and the only market where things that have no value get to valuations like that are in melt-up markets, which very well could mean that we are in like the last final hurrahs to make money before like we reach a certain level of economic collapse. And meme coins erupting in value, if that does happen, if we get to a recession, like a genuine recession in 2025, we'll look at meme coin valuation going so high as the canary in the tunnel telling us that this is a melt-up market. And I was just like, fuck. I was like, shit.
Here it is, man. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That bird is singing.
The bird's singing, and right now we're just dancing to it when we should have been leaving the tunnel. And that thought, along with other things that I've been thinking of too, which is just like a lot more economic uncertainty. You know, my selling strategy has been to sell 5% once January comes and sell through that month. I might change that out the gate to sell 15%, and then do 5% just to make sure I do take a solid chunk off the table in case this is a melt-up market and things really do collapse pretty damn fast when we get into 2025. So, yeah, I'm probably going to do that just to de-risk my portfolio, even though like 4-year cycle, middle of summer to end of 2025 should be the top.
I'm very curious to see those two. Not to disagree. I have no like standing to disagree on. This is not like my area of expertise.
Well, I'm not sure if I even believe it, right? It's just a thought I had where I was like, unsettling.
No, for sure. I am curious to see what the collision of two things looks like in practice, where we have, you know, the historic trends for Bitcoin following a halving, which have already been influenced by the all-time high being made before the halving. And then what that looks like when it collides with, you know, the questionable economic situation, you know, like someone was mentioning the stock market right now, right? Like how many all-time highs has SPY made this year? I heard the number the other day and it was insanely high, like 30 or something. 30 times it has cracked and just continued to go up. And I'm sure that election anticipation has something to do with that. And I'm sure that the election, of course, as it does historically, will play a huge part in that. But the marrying of those two things, which could have different outcomes, I'm very curious to watch, like how that goes.
And that's the interesting thing when you look at the chart
ahead.
too, is you're seeing this clash of combating indicators on the chart and in the macro picture also, right? Because you have inflation's getting better, but if we enter a recession and rate cuts happen, that sends the market down. If we're not in a recession, it could be good for the market. There's also increasing war, but at the same time, war economies are good for avoiding recessions. And you have like this interesting clash. You also have, like you said, the election and all this other stuff. It's a fascinating time that is incredibly uncertain. And as I have realized how uncertain I am about the market looking forward, I have started to become more and more comfortable with the idea of getting even more aggressive with my selling when I do decide to sell.
Yeah.
So
and
I want to zoom in on that.
Sorry, go ahead, Evan.
No, it's okay. Can I zoom in on that really quick and pull the thread? Is this idea that people have of when to sell, when to buy. And we're seeing a lot of things emerge in the market that are giving people options they really have never had before. We've got a meme coin market where you can casino alongside these altcoins with supposed utility. You've got Bitcoin, you've got stocks, you've got all these new investment vehicles that are coming, but you've also got this sort of impervious sector. Like Coinbase is not going anywhere. And there is this whole new class of attention type assets that people are building on ecosystems like Base. Like Machiste. Crypto the Game just got nominated for an Emmy. Machiste is getting his token store and Logadog retweeted by Brian Armstrong. And if the price of Bitcoin goes to zero, obviously we'll have bigger problems. But for the most part, whatever's happening in the market, that kind of stuff is really great return progress forward. So I want to like encourage people, just as you build a strategy for selling some assets, don't think that you can't succeed in a crypto market where assets like Bitcoin are down. Be sure to consider all the assets on the table that are not just money. I mean, I made $92 this week eating hot dogs because I was playing Logadog online with my friends. And in the meantime, was hanging out with Machiste and maybe Brian Armstrong is going to see me and be like, wow, that guy's really goofy, but he's got this morning show with a couple of guys who are quite smart, and I love their, you know what I mean? Like, that is an investment that will do 1,000x, regardless of what it pays me and how my tummy feels after the hot dogs. So think about how you're selling, but also think about how you're spending your time in all these opportunities that you have. The canary's leaving the coal mine, but maybe it's cozy here.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that makes another point that I made in a video very recently, which I'll admit didn't have the world's greatest hook, I guess, for this niche. But I'm telling you, if I could grab your faces and look at you in your eyeballs. Thank you.
Me and Evan at the same time.
Right? He grabs both.
That's why you guys are here. Look for ways, like if you have long-term faith in this space, this industry, but you are understandably cautious about spending too much money on stuff because, like we said, there's the potential for lower lows and all of this shit in the short term, in the medium term, whatever. There are ways you can get into this and get stuff without spending money by just doing different things in your free time, doing different things, whatever, because that's the nature of Web3, is like rewarding you for your time and energy and whatever. So like Evan's example is perfect. He ate some hot dogs and took some pictures and made $100, which is like nothing that's hilarious to say that sentence out loud. That's just how it works. So just like look for the ways that you can just get involved and spend the time while you have it to do things to like earn airdrops or open yourself up to earning more airdrops. All that sort of shit. Like that's worth paying attention to, but it doesn't get any attention. It's just boring to talk about. And you're not going to make $1 million doing it. So people would rather like take the 0.001% chance that they become a millionaire by buying a meme than they would take the 100% chance that they make $100 by eating some hot dogs. And
but the meta is changing in that way, and it's difficult. It's much easier to understand number go up and to look at charts and to make predictions based on quantifiable, quantitative data. I think it's a lot harder for people to say reality games are a big deal. Crypto the game seems to understand tokens in a way nobody else does, and everyone is paying attention to it, so I'm going to play. Even though it cost me $300, nobody on the other end is going to be able to see, what's going to come out of it. But nominated for an Emmy, I am on a first name basis with the founder. Their product has been acquired by Uniswap. I got airdropped like $1,000 of ZK Sync tokens, probably another couple $100 of Orb tokens. I am known, liked, and trusted by people who play Crypto the game. And when the next season comes out, people are going to say, I wonder what Evan's going to do this time. And there are people whose names you know in the crypto space. And so while that's not necessarily all the dollars I can take to the bank, if the show blows up and Survivor starts watching, you see what I mean? It is a meta you can play. I said to Matt the other day, who is better than just about anybody I know, welcome, brother, at looking at crypto tokens and allocating money in the hopes that we'll grow bigger. About Warpcast, where he's new and doesn't know a ton of people, he said he had this great cast about like, I feel like this bull run, I'm not, what did you say? I was, last time I was building things, I felt like I was right in the action, right where I needed to be to take advantage of opportunity. And this time I'm not quite sure where my footing is. And I said, hey man, you're in the right place. Go into the builder chat, introduce yourself, and tell people what you've built. Like that is the meta, is like social game right now, because you already got the crypto token game down. But now there are new opportunities for people like us without spending any money to capitalize on all the attention that's here. And welcome again.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm sorry, I got the baby with me, so I haven't fully transitioned to you guys yet. But yeah, what I said was that I felt like last bull run I was living up to my potential each day, and this bull run I do not, for better or for worse. I don't know. I felt like I was more on the cutting edge, and this is just like you just gotta kind of be. I don't know. I mean,
you do have a very different and higher priority in your child. So, your bandwidth, I'm sure, is spread a little bit thinner.
Yeah, but it's not even that. It's just like meaningful purpose, Like if I felt like last bull run, I was giving people education that they didn't have, and it was much more exciting to be online and we had a team that was really exciting. We were doing something that hadn't been done, both on a product level and on the chain that we were working on. And now I just feel like so many things have already been done. It's just you're either copying or just making some bullshit that isn't really going to have any value. And I'm not technical, so I can't build any sort of like engine or platform myself. So then it's just a matter of, like Evan was saying, finding people who can build that and try and offering my skills to help them, sell it or find people for it. But it's just I don't know. It's just been a grind this time. I don't know if anyone else feels that, but
I think too, though, that it's worth noting we had a good push and a good start before on a network, which ended up going nowhere, not where we thought or wanted to see it go, and that unfortunately put us kind of behind, because then other stuff did not stop, and so we would be effectively starting then from scratch somewhere else, which is just super daunting to do, because I personally remember how much work we did to get everything on. I hate saying Multiverse X out loud.
yeah, let's just call Elron. Fuck them anyways. They don't.
Mac,
I'm taking it back.
Mac,
Community takeover.
you'll get a kick out of this, Mac. I had a conversation yesterday with some big Web3 gaming people, and we were kind of doing like a little bit of a back and forth offline after, and I mentioned where we built and like what happened and all this sort of stuff, and they were like, "Oh yeah, what blockchain was it?" And I was like, "Well, it's now called Multiverse X, but used to be Elrond." And they all three of them, and these are people who are fucking dialed in, right? They were like, "Oh, I've heard of Elrond. I thought it went under." And they had, but they didn't even realize that the rebrand was the same network. They just thought, okay, that's some other shitty blockchain, and Elrond is like out of business.
Oh my god, that is tragic.
Yeah.
Sad.
Okay, guys.
Hey, Matt, I do have a question for you that I've had several times on my channel, and someone just put it in this chat about Aether. People want to know, is it too late to get into that token? Has it been easy to set up the miner? Is it just I want to personally know, is it just a Fugazi? Is it a token that's going to go up in value and do nothing except sell them a bunch of products? What are you thinking? Are you making money on your miner? Was it simple?
Hold on. Will, do you have to leave?
Yeah, guys, I gotta hop off. I had another point too, but I'll bring it up in the next live. I don't want to derail the conversation, but I gotta hop off and go do sales calls.
Oh, see you, buddy.
Have fun. We love you, man. Thank you for joining, and rise up. See you next time, brother.
See you guys.
Okay, so to answer your question, yeah, it's working great. This is my Edge. This is one of them, and then I got another one in the office. I thought, well, I don't know. I just thought it looked cooler to have them in different spots. And in the beginning stages, I was testing out like wired versus wireless, and it turns out it's.
Can I just say real quick? I am excited to hear about this. Throwback for those who maybe don't know: the very first time I ever met Mac in person, I went to his place of business, the Steinway. The sales floor, the showroom where all these beautiful big pianos are, and Mac's all spiffy and he's doing his thing, and I walk in and the very first thing he shows me is his old school, the helium miner that he had like stashed under the stairs in the sales room.
They did not know it was there. I was like, I don't want to get into this conversation. I'm just going to put a piece of painter's tape on it that says property of Mac. Don't move.
Do not move.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, if you're in the piano world, right, you don't know anything about, like, what is this mysterious router doing in here? I know Mac does crypto. Is he, like, going to be, hacked and, like, our whole network go down and shit? So, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to not even tell him. But, yeah, so the Aether stuff is going well. The miners are working great. They have their, I think, third and final sale, at least for a while, coming up in a few days in, like, July 2nd. So I'll make a post about it because it's like one of the last chances to get it, and then I guess after that you have to get it through one of their distributors or something like that. Yeah. But I would say that like the window for opportunity for the miners is closing because, as with any new project, there's going to be more and more coins coming on the market. Right? That's the downside of new projects. They have low circulating supplies that then increase.
over time. So the question is, do you think it's going to be more popular than the rate of emissions? And I think with Aether, it will be, because they are a super, super strong team, and they're in 3 different narratives, which is AI, AI, Web3 gaming, and DeepIn. So they're super strong. I would say the only bad thing about them is that they have still a fair amount of tokens that are going to come on the market in this next year or so. But I do think it'll certainly go up in value from where it is, $250 million. And their stats and their products are better than their competitors, which is like Render and Akash and stuff. So I don't see why they can't be multi-billion-dollar.
Yeah, but here's my thing, dude. Here's my thing. Is I think that there's a lot of proof that needs to go in that pudding, is my thought. It seems more like a company structured to raise money by selling products and tokens than it does, especially when they don't have multiple tokens. What is the supposed, why do they need a crypto token? And what is its use for their business? Because it seems to me like it's just a fundraising mechanism.
Well,
which is cool.
Yeah, DeepIn, I think, is one of the best use cases for crypto, because it
I
allows...
don't disagree.
Yeah. Well, for anyone listening, though, DeepIn, Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Network, that's what it's called. Thanks, Masari. But the reason why that kind of needs a crypto component is because you need people in a vast network to contribute to this network. So whether they're contributing their, like I am, my extra GPU, my unused bandwidth, or whatever, that allows people who need a network to be able to connect from anywhere in the world. Same thing with what Helium was doing. And in order to incentivize these people, you need to give them some sort of, reward. So that happens on chain. So that's mainly the benefit of their token. You buy it because you can use their network, whether that be for AI, for gaming, and a lot of their clients are enterprise focused. So they're going the enterprise route first before going B2C. And then you get it from establishing the network and from contributing to it as a miner, as a node operator, etc.
So here's my thing, though, is if there's one token and it has that role, and it also is part of a hot narrative, and they're playing into this narrative of we're going to be the future. You want to invest in us, buy our token, and also use our token to secure the network. Why, if I am believing in the future of decentralized physical infrastructure, am I going to want to partner as an investor or a company using this software, hardware, with a company who is selling speculation and hype? They're depending on speculation and hype to generate attention, which makes the token go like this and makes everybody using that token for payments say, I'd rather use the dollar. I just don't think, I don't know that I've ever seen a company in the crypto space that has that kind of incentive set up last more than a cycle. Or if they do, it's because they made enough money and now they're rebranded and they're mostly getting attention from a new narrative. You know what I mean? I think it's a lot less likely they're going to make it than somebody like Chainlink, who's I really don't care if you buy my token because people are using it in my ecosystem right now. Because they're funded by other businesses.
Any crypto is going to have their own sales and marketing team that says, hey, our crypto is worth paying attention to.
Not necessarily. If the crypto is the means by which they fund their activity, then yes. But why would, for example, if I was going to do, if I was going to do a company that verify, like IYK, that Mac and Cheesy's doing, where they put, the chips, NFTs, and they're tokenizing physical stuff, they are selling tokens as a function to allow people to own and prove they own physical items. They are not saying, go buy our tokens because one day this chip is going to be worth $20, right? And as a result, the product itself is a lot more usable. I'm saying that is not the only way to design a tokenomic structure, but it is the way most companies in our space do it that fail, because it creates a bind. It pits investors against users. And one of those incentives is going to win out. It's usually speculation. And then when it stops being hype because the company hasn't built the product, the investors who are speculators, they all go away. And then the company loses money and they can't build the thing they promised you they'd build. And then it just goes under. That's my problem with 99% DeSci, DePIN, AI, gaming, you name it, crypto companies right now. I believe DePIN is a huge area of opportunity for crypto. I just don't think the business structure should look like that.
So real quick, Evan, I would say, Mac, I know, okay, two things in between both of these. Mac, I know you've talked about your personal concerns with just like the token model in general, like across all things with, how do you use a token meaningfully to like make money to do your thing, to execute your utility? But then you as the team, how do you navigate the world in which you have your own token and you now need to do stuff? You have to sell some of it. How navigating that is very tricky. While maintaining good public perception of you as a team, and how is it not bearish to see you sell the token and all this stuff. Evan, though, you use Chainlink as an example. I would encourage you to remember how it started, though, because Chainlink is just old. And they don't have to anymore because they are one of the few that then got to the position where now they exist, now it's established, now it's good. But when it launched, it was a very different story. And someone mentioned Quant, not doing that. And you're right. Like right now, Quant has no hype because they didn't bring anything new to the table this year. But last cycle Quant was everywhere. Every other TikTok was about Quant and the hyper over ledger or whatever the fuck they called it, and why it was going to change the world and why it was like the next big thing and all this. It was exclusively hype, which overinflated it like crazy. And then they failed the only benchmark that matters, which is like maintain through the bear and show up with a reason to still be here in the next bull. So Aether, in my opinion, is just in that beginning stage that they could go either way. I could see it go either way. I know Mac would never guarantee that it's going to be the Titan, but they're not at the benchmark yet for me personally, where I would be like, how are you going to, it's now I'm like, wait, okay, how are you going to handle this from here?
I still don't understand what the criticism of is.
Let me clarify, because I think I miscommunicated based on what Alex just said. I'm not saying it's a predictor of whether they will or won't be here. What I'm saying is it's like what we see with airdrops. The airdrop might be a better analogy. Have you seen, Mac, how there are all these companies? Layer Zero just did one. Yeah. There are all these companies doing airdrops, and they have this problem where they want to get their token into the hands of people who are actually going to use it to add value to their protocol. Yeah. But what happens when you have an airdrop or you have a miner where people can get your token is you get people farming. Like you personally, Mac, are you actually going to use Aether the way somebody who's like, I am a dev building the decentralized internet? You're not, right? You're mostly doing it to get tokens. Am I wrong?
Okay. Yeah. So two things then. I would not necessarily be the target audience because they have their primary target audiences are enterprise use cases and third. I don't want to say third world, but let's just say for sake of ease, third world
people who don't have access.
Yeah, because the issue is that the enterprise people don't have enough access to the really strong GPUs out there, the H100s, the A100s, all the good shit from NVIDIA. So they can get access to all that stuff via the cloud, which is pretty cool. But then so too can gamers who want to play, games that require downloads and high internet speeds, but they don't have good phones. So places in Africa, India, different parts of the world where the technology is not up to snuff, but the wherewithal and the hunger for those kind of applications is. So those would be the first two places I would look. Like it's kind of like, you say Bitcoin isn't necessarily great for Americans because our currency is relatively stable, but for somebody in Venezuela, Bitcoin would be, even with all of its volatility that it has. So
you're saying that they're using people like you, they're aligning incentives for someone like you to help them build a bigger network to reach those people by offering a financial incentive. Because someone like you having a miner, because you're going to earn some tokens, it's creating another node for the network that they can use to make it stronger and bigger.
Not necessarily. It's the other way around, though. I'm seeing the opportunity because I'm able to help establish this network, and I know that buying one of these miners early gets me these ATH tokens, which I believe is going to go up in value. but it's
Yeah.
not necessarily their, wanting me to buy any. I think that I want to do it for my own selfish needs, because not only can it mine ATH, but it'll be able to mine other cryptocurrencies too. So it's kind of like a future plan as well.
I don't know. I guess it just reeks of play to earn, where once the incentive dries up for someone like you, once there's a better project, a better product, I'd be curious that you say you can mine other crypto. Like, that's pretty cool. Changes my mind a little bit about it. But generally speaking, I am skeptical of a product that's like, here, extract some value from us, person who really doesn't need what we have to offer aside from money. Like, it's the argument Machiste made the other day about, like, we're all here for the money. As soon as the money dries up, people go away. People will maybe pay attention to the money right now, but I feel like people are looking ultimately for something that changes their life in a long-term way, whether that's sustainable money. Go ahead.
But you have to consider that not every crypto project is going to have an impact on everyday, moderately wealthy Americans' lives. You know what I mean?
Which is that's my argument, is why I'm saying it's a bad incentive for the company, because they're playing a game of time the market. They have got to get the money from you while they can, and then exit at the right time or pivot at the right time. And I just think it's risky.
Right, but how else are they going to get those tokens in circulation? Right? Either
it's a tough problem. I don't have a good answer for it. I just don't think that's the best way.
But there's only so many ways. Like, you get, like, in the last bull cycle, it was through staking. Staking was the meta. So you stake.
I think saying just because we've seen a handful of ways, I think that's a bad faith argument. There are mostly the ways to distribute tokens haven't even been invented yet. You know what I mean? Your girl right there is probably going to invent about a dozen of them that we've never even thought of. Right, baby?
Well, I don't know. That's kind of a cop-out argument too, though, to say, like, the best ways haven't been invented yet. It's like saying, well, we should be a lot better at space travel, but we're not because it hasn't been invented yet. It's like, well, yeah, what are you supposed to do? It takes time to invent new technologies and methodologies, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just think that, like, if it didn't come from mining, and this goes for any crypto, right? Like, I think a lot of companies are doing this. It's like, either you have a set amount and they launch all at launch, which is like the meme token route, or you have a vested schedule if you have VC backing or whatever, and then it's up to you to determine how the tokens are emitted, either through staking, either through unlocks, or burning, which is the SEC doesn't like that. So I don't know. You're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, in my opinion, there, because
it's a challenge.
Yeah.
I would say too, it's the launch is one thing, but to agree with what Mac is saying, right now you have a couple choices. You can try perhaps to invent from scratch a brand new mechanism, but then in addition to building and executing on that, you have to teach everyone how it works, and you're going to lose a lot of time because no one has the attention span to go through that at this stage. So then your other choice becomes wait and potentially miss out on your window to launch, or miss out on this, that, and the other thing, or potentially end up somewhere where it's worse and it doesn't work, or use the vehicles that are available to you now and try to drive them better. And of course, that is the nature of speculating on a crypto. Is like, I think that this one is going to drive better than other things doing the same thing, because of course it's not the only deepen thing. Just like there's no only one AI thing or one whatever thing. And now I mean the ball's in their court to like drive the vehicle well. You know what I mean? So it's just I would agree that it may not be ideal, but I could totally see, like if you're a business and you're trying to go like, this is how it works right now. Let us do a better job. No one has to trust them. But yeah, I mean, I totally get what you're both saying. So not to just like play Switzerland, but
No.
It's just I do agree with like, yeah, sure, there's probably a better way that will be invented at some point, but like coming up with that, it's kind of an empty thing to say like it's not good, but there is no better way. So what? Just like don't go into business, or just like just forget it and go home?
No.
Just seems like kind of a.
And for the record too, I don't think there's anything bad about having a globally, distributed network of participants, because it's not just me that's buying. I'm the minority because I'm an American. Most of these people that are buying these nodes and helping to establish their network are distributed all around the world, which from my perspective is a great plan of attack, I'd say.
I don't know. There's a lot we could say about it. I get the sense that people are tired of the topic, though. And I want to be a good steward of everyone's attention as your lead anchor and ask you to wrap it up by telling us the TLDR, where can we buy them? Where can we learn more? If people want to set up a node in their house. And then I want to segue the conversation. I have a good question from the audience.
Okay, yeah, if anyone, just check out my page. I think the last video I did was about them, but they have another sale coming up. I'll tweet about it too. Just follow me on Twitter at MacLorden, or you can check them out on Twitter. It's at Aether Edge. But yeah, they got a sale coming up, and the last one I think is going to be in like July 2nd or so. It's like $900 though after the discount code, so just be warned.
$900, and Max said the window is closing. So, pay attention, build conviction, make your move.
And you can mine more than just Aether eventually. Right now it's just Aether, but eventually it'll be
very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a really great question. If you have a question, leave it below. I promise I will be a good steward. I'm writing them down. I will get to it, and we will answer it for you. The question here is a scenario. Hayden says, I'm 25. I have $30,000 in Chainlink, or maybe 30,000 tokens. I don't know. 30K Chainlink, 30K ICP, 30K NEAR, and 2.6 Bitcoin. What should I do for my future? I am glad to kick it to you, gentlemen, with my one sentence answer, which is do what you can to build conviction, because it's great to ask other people and hear what they would do with your Monopoly pieces. But man, you got to know thyself. And as you continue to build conviction, whatever you invest in, buy or sell, it's going to be better for it. What do you guys think? What should Hayden do?
Not ask TikTokers on a live what to do with a portfolio of that magnitude. Like you're, I don't know. You're asking for, like I just said in the comment, you're asking for specific financial advice, which is not something that anyone here is qualified to give you.
Yeah, but if we're not, then who else is?
That's what I'm saying. Well, there are plenty of financial advisors. I don't know that's a whole career. You can hire a financial advisor right now.
You can't get certified in crypto financial advising. They don't know fuck about crypto.
Yes, but you can understand it and you can be a financial advisor. My point is, like, I'm just saying I don't think he's necessarily asking us to financially advise his next 5 steps. I think he's asking for our perspective as crypto natives, which I don't think is unfair to give him and just say, like, look, take this with a grain of salt. But, I think, I do look to you guys for help. I just think if this guy can't ask us, who can he probably talk to? It's probably like he can't talk at the dinner table to his wife and kids about what he should do with his crypto portfolio, I don't know. I guess you need, like, to even begin to offer perspective, you would need so much more information. Is that all of your money? Do you have other investments going, and then I just feel weird about that because it's like advice and it's non-advice. It's like, I would say, okay, ask yourself, how much money is this? What's going to happen to me if the whole market goes down by another 20 or 30%? What's my time frame? When do I need this back by? Is this something that I bought with the intention of keeping for 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years, 1 month, 2 months, whatever? And then again, none of us know you. I don't know your financial situation. Like, to me, that's a fuckload of money. So, I don't know. I can't, it's hard for me to say because I would be looking at, the future thinking like, well, I probably need some of that. So, maybe if I'm up on anything, consider profits, but now's not a great time to be selling stuff. But I don't know. It's just very, I would probably bow myself out because I have no idea. There's too many unknowns for me to, like, speculate on anything there, I think.
Hayden, if I go out on a limb and I'll just tell you my opinion. Of course, like I said, take this with a grain of salt, but I'm 25. Oh man, good for you. Well, the good news is you're young, so you still got plenty of time. The thing I would
And
say,
he's a founder. He owns a company.
oh yeah, nice dude. What I would say is be wary of coins that are older than a cycle in this market because ICP is just a fumble when it comes to marketing, and it started off with drama and it hasn't stopped. So, I'm personally bearish on ICP. Not to say that it won't go up. I think that in a bull run, almost all of these coins are going to go up. So keep that in mind. If you want to go like low risk, it'll go up relatively modest amounts. I would say that the portfolio that you're talking about with Chainlink, ICP, Near, and Bitcoin are all relatively solid, in my opinion. I would say also.
David, can you lock the door, please?
I would
Go
say
ahead.
also that it's worth considering what your risk portfolio is and what kind of gains you're looking to get out of this bull run. Because I personally don't have Chainlink, ICP in my portfolio because they're already multi-billion-dollar coins, and I don't expect them to go up that much. I think they're relatively well adopted, you know what I mean? But if you're looking for a little bit more gas on your portfolio, you might want to start doing some research on some lower market cap coins that are less than billions of dollars. Bitcoin, I think, is always a safe bet, obviously. And ultimately, it's just going to depend on what you're looking for out of your portfolio. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer because I wouldn't consider that any of the kind of financial advice. Those are both good answers because what you're looking for is perspective. You need to know not what's the best investment, but what's the best investment for you. Like, how much are you making? How much are you spending? How much are you comfortable losing? What other kind of investments do you have? Do you know how to turn your crypto into dollars? Are you part of a community of people where you're, getting good information, good research? Are you connected to inside information, that kind of thing? All of those things, are going to help you. Listening to folks like Mac talk about it, or folks like Alex talk about it, folks like me talk about it, it's going to give you more information about, that sounds like something good for me. That sounds like something bad for me.
And something that I'm sure Alex would agree with me on, Hayden, is that I think we're both much more bullish on Solana than ICP or Chainlink.
Totally.
Yeah.
So,
attention goes where money flows.
Without giving financial advice, but just saying, like, look, Solana's making moves, and ICP is just stumbling.
Yeah.
Well, and like Max said,
go ahead.
the dinosaurs are fighting more than just general market competition too. They're fighting expectations that they set in a previous market, in a previous cycle. And you have a lot of people, like, I always encourage people to remember that the buyers of your token are rarely people who are intending to use it for your proposed use case, and they're mostly people who are trying to make money off of the token. So in that sense, ICP is fighting a pretty tough battle with a tremendous amount of bad baggage, just because of how they launched. Not to say that someone who bought it at $6 is not going to do well if it goes up to $20, because that would be great. But it going to 20 does nothing for the people who bought it at 500, who will never see that price again.
Excellent answers. So just again, we have some more good questions coming in. We have two I'm going to read. What is crypto backed by? Why can each of us create our own currency? And does any crypto have utility? Because you all talk about it like it's a scam. But first, before we answer it, I want to welcome our friend Joey to the stage. Joey's a friend of ours from the community. Thanks for being here. I muted your mic because you were talking. If you can't unmute, let me know. I'll help you.
I
Thanks for being here.
apologize, fellas. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys this morning? How's everything?
I'm doing great, except I keep getting this POV from Mac Lorden, like I am living inside his pants, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's about to, I don't know, do something inappropriate to me, and I'm not sure if it's like a psychological power play.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But it's messing with my mind, man. I'm sorry. So what's on your mind, Joey?
Psychological power play. I love that. No, so I just wanted to touch a little bit on where my opinion of where the markets are, based off of current economic factors and world factors that are contributing to, the way that the market's moving right now. So like I mentioned it in the comments that I kind of compare this to Mac talked about the economic collapse that is kind of impending based on other facts that are happening. But I kind of compare it to when Nixon decoupled gold from the dollar, right? And this is just my personal opinion, like it's not financial advice. But like you look at the devaluation of the dollar and then BRICS stopping to accept the dollar as the primary vessel for trade of oil, over in the BRICS nation, and then coming out with their own currency. And then you also see the implementation of CBDCs. I feel like now more than ever, while we see collapses around the dollar and around the stock market, we see more of an opportunity for people to use cryptocurrency as a life raft to escape that dollar collapse, right? So I think like everybody's kind of mentioned is, we're in very uncertain times, but my bullish sentiment around cryptocurrency as a whole is higher than ever because the opportunity to see that transfer of from the financial institutions and into the decentralized finance sector. Now, with that, obviously, there's a lot that Alex talks about, and I really respect him. I've got the utmost respect for the way he carries himself with always wanting to keep the community and the people of crypto in mind when he makes his suggestions. So like I also think that there's a huge amount of regulation that has to happen, right? We need to find some kind of KYC, KYB system to implement across the board to stop the ruggers and scammers. And the last thing that I have is on the guy who had asked about his portfolio, and this is just like my personal strategy. Now I know a lot of people are against memes, but like for me in the DeFi space, like I've been in DeFi since Dogecoin, when Angela White tweeted about it. And I got into decentralized finance. I got into all the Telegram groups and trading a lot in the meme space and all the dirty degenerates who lay around there. And I made a set of rules for myself, right? Like if I make a 2X, I pull my initials. And then I'm always risk free. And like if you're going to, this is like, again, not financial advice, but just my own experience. Like if you're going to play in those DeFi markets, and you're going to take that massive risk of getting rugged or getting honeypotted or dealing with some of these malicious people who consistently serial launch projects day after day, sometimes multiple times a day, for me at least, like I've got to set that set of rules so I can get my risk out of the market and still have an opportunity to capitalize on upside. And I have a lot of fun while I'm doing it. Like, yeah, I do get rugged sometimes. Yeah, I do get honeypotted, but I keep my risk to a minimal. I throw a 0.05 ETH or maybe a 0.2 Solana, and if it goes up 100, 200x, then I created myself a nice little bag. But it's always really, really important, especially for the new people that are listening. Just don't go diving into DeFi and Telegram and live new pairs and all that stuff, because like Alex talks about, it is a dirty place and it does need to be cleaned up. And I just wanted to kind of share a little bit of my insight. I would come on camera and dox to you guys, but TikTok won't let me yet, so.
Yeah, I don't think you have enough followers to give us your beautiful face, but I do appreciate the headshot because we love a man with fashion. I can tell you're a good fit among all our jaw-lined people over here. Everybody who joins this show makes it more beautiful or handsome all the time. I'm pretty bullish on that. What do you guys think about what Joey said? That was great, man.
Appreciate that.
No, well said. I was laughing. I didn't mean to laugh at you, Joey. I just laughed at the face Alex made when he was like, "Go on." When you were showering him with compliments, he's like, "That is I, a man of culture."
Yeah, Joey is a friend of ours in the Discord community, and we appreciate you, man, for being there and supporting the show and for hanging out with us. I would love to hear everyone's perspective. Something you touched on is kind of in the realm of those questions. Okay, so like, if there is so much happening in the crypto space, a lot of it can be scammy. We got to kind of figure it out. Why is it that any crypto has, like, this is the question. Take it how you want. Does any crypto really have utility? Is it all just speculative? And if it's just speculative, what is it backed by? Is it the same for Bitcoin as it is for, Harry Potter, Sonic, Obama, Inu? And why can each of us create our own crypto token? Like if it's supposed to just be money, for example, how come people can just go and launch a crypto token? I don't know if I framed those questions. Do you see how there's a relationship between all those questions? What I'm getting at, that tokens can be more than money. but also how can they be money? Why does Bitcoin exist in a world with dollars? I don't know. I feel like they're related. Go for it, brother.
I just there's a thought that came to me with furious haste, and I just want to share it with you. Before I get to that, though, whoever's dispensing all these little coins, I've got 25 of them. Thank you. Literally couldn't tell you what that gives me, but thank you so much for the coins for everyone.
It's a participation trophy, man.
Yep.
It's not fungible.
We're so nerdy. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I think that the easiest way to tell how long somebody has been in crypto is just to gauge their general disposition on the state of crypto and technology and the future of it. If you find people like us who are like, yeah, dude, a lot of this space is complete bullshit, there's a good chance they've worked in crypto and they've been in the space for a long time. Alex, I know that you identify with that because Alex and I are a little bit more burn the world. Evan is a little bit more like plant flowers, but
but I still think it's all crap.
Okay. Yeah. So even that,
most of it's crap.
Yeah, but like, man, you've been with somebody who's been through a couple cycles. Like, most of this stuff is just bullshit. It's complete bullshit. So the question is, how do I find? I think it's two parts. One is they say PvP, which is player versus player, and it certainly is. Like, you're trying to buy things at a lower price than your competitors or your fellow people, and then sell it at a higher price to somebody who still thinks it's worth something, right? So I don't generally have that worldview because it seems very dark and I'm not that pessimistic, but in some sense, especially in the meme game, that's what you're doing. You're just trying to get in earlier and out earlier than your competitors and do it as best as possible. The other play is the value-based investing. And that is where you actually have coins that are doing something useful and have the potential to change the world. And you just got to hope, or change their industry, whatever it is. And you just got to hope that the community and the team and the technology all holds up along with the markets to make your investment profitable. But I'd say it's a combination of those two things. And none of it matters if you don't have good marketing. So everybody knows that by now. You have to have good marketing. And the question on everyone's mind is this product legit or is it bullshit? Because by now the marketing is getting pretty good from everyone. In the last cycle, it wasn't.
Well said. Alex, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, kind of like as it relates to a couple other comments that have come through. So someone was just I'm sorry, who was it?
Talking about Hayden about the professionals comment or the other influencers?
I will absolutely answer that. Yes. Well, actually, that's a really quick answer. Any creator who belittles their audience does it for one reason, and this is just a fact. It's because they don't deserve the audience, and they're trying to scare you into staying with them by making you think you have no better option and that you are a dumb little lost puppy who has no hope in the world except to follow this person. It is a tactic and a strategy used by grifters and con men throughout history. And if that is the attitude that someone has towards their audience, just block them and move on because you're not going to get anything of value from that person.
They're not your teachers.
Are you talking about Andrew Tate?
I'm talking.
We're
Sure,
talking about every influencer pretty much out there.
He is absolutely in that camp.
I actually know millionaires and billionaires that know him and swear that he's a good guy. But every time I talk to him, I'm like, not Andrew himself, but my friends, I'm like, I can't stand the guy. I don't like the attitude. It's not what we want in our space. It's not the kind of energy that we want to reciprocate to new people that are coming in. And it's just
how he sells. I mean, he's been very successful at like making men feel like they're not manly enough or smart enough or whatever. So then he sells his course. It's
okay, but forget about Andrew for a second because Alex was rapping. Let him cook.
Well, that's part of it. Yes, he is a perfect example of someone who has nothing to offer. So he rules through fear and through bullying. And I mean, it works. It's an effective tactic. He has a gajillion little soft boys that pay him way too much money constantly, even though he is publicly on record admitting to violent sexual assault and bragging about it. So, like, he's not anyone who thinks he's a good person. I could not be more bearish on as a human being. Just fuck anyone who disagrees with or agrees with that dude. Sorry to be blunt, but he has nothing to offer the world. But no, to the original point, which now did I lose some of it? Mac, you were talking about marketing and the need for.
We're talking about how does any crypto token have value? Like, we say it's all crap, but how does it have value? And how, if anybody can just launch a token,
Sure,
of any kind.
I don't know, it's twofold, right? Like, in order for anything to have value, it's got to fall into one of two camps. It either has to be able to immediately get you food, water, or shelter, the basic tenets of human survival, or you have to believe that it's valuable, probably because of its propensity to hopefully get you more or better food, water, and shelter. And anything can be valuable if we believe it's valuable. That's really the only thing that's required for anything to be valuable, is that someone has to agree with it. So it's really just a matter of the size of the group that thinks it's worthwhile. And then, to Mac's point, that is absolutely completely dependent on how you tell that story to the general public. So the tie-in with the comment was from Cosmic, who shared a headline about Algorand's data set being published with Google BigQuery, whatever their query engine is called, which, to put into layman's terms, basically just means that it is now easier than it has ever been before to query the entire Algorand ledger. And my counterpoint was, absolutely no one on earth cares about that, because nothing else has been brought. Like, I did see that headline. Literally all that means is that if you wanted to know, like, has someone done XYZ transaction on Algorand, you can search that more easily now. It's essentially like saying their blockchain explorer got easier to read, but nothing else has happened. So it's like, okay, cool, but, like, why would anyone want to read that ledger? And the answer is, like, maybe builders, like, who want to do stuff over there. That's definitely good for them. But, like, the marketing side, no one else cares. So that shouldn't be, like, the defining headline for them, unless then the Algorand Foundation is also now unveiling their newest grant initiative to onboard new builders. And here is a cool new thing in our tool belt for builders that makes their life easier. Like, if you just keep saying hyper technical shit with no way to put it into context for the user population, that is why Solana is demolishing everyone, because they'll make a developer helping hand here on one hand, and then they will advertise it by putting it into context that the user can understand, and then also incentivize people to use it, and then also, release it with other things that matter for the user, like, how does this help their life? So they need to do that kind of shit, otherwise no one cares.
Can I address something that Hayden just said recently?
Yes.
He said the only reason that people value Bitcoin is because of scarcity and its limited supply. And I countered back, I think it's because people believe in it and that it's going to go up. And I think that if you guys haven't had the chance, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, is absolutely mandatory reading for anyone. It's an incredible, groundbreaking book. So check out that if you haven't. But that's one of the things he talks about, is, like, it wasn't until I read that book that I realized that, like, the only reason anything in this world has value is because we all collectively believe it does. There's no difference from $1 and a piece of paper if the dollar didn't have everyone else's belief that it was worth that much. Look at the dollars in Venezuela, where they're just lining the streets and the gutters, and people are taking wheelbarrows full of cash to the market because their government made poor decisions with their financial policy, and that made the money less and less valuable. And as it gets less and less valuable, you realize it for what it is. It's just a piece of paper. And the same principle applies to anything in crypto. The only reason anything is valuable is because other people believe it is valuable. Now, what the team does to help you convince you that it's valuable, like coming up with incentive structures for new developers, coming up with marketing campaigns, getting celebrities on board, being in the game a long time, all those kind of things are ways that they can help you believe that it's worth something. But at the end of the day, the fundamental truth is other people have to believe it's valuable. And if they don't, then it's not worth a damn. So then the question you ask yourself is like somebody else was asking, is XLM useless? It's like, probably, because what you have to do is convince hundreds of thousands of people that, with smart contracts and whatever the fuck else they're doing are suddenly going to matter and like become top of the game and beat out the incumbents. That's what I was saying against Ripple for so long. It's like Ripple and XRP was this coin that was great for like cross-border payments, but they didn't adapt enough. And they said, oh, well, we're developing the XRPL, the ledger, and we can do smart contracts on that and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but now you're competing against Solana and Cardano and Ethereum and all these other layer ones. And that was back in the last cycle. Even since then, many of the L1s have dropped off. Really, the only L1s that are on people's mind nowadays is Solana, Avalanche, and Ethereum. And
I want to really
say Ethereum, Solana, and then Avalanche, maybe a few others, and then there's some big L2s in there like, Arbitrum and Optimism base.
I want to just make a quick point about why people believe in Bitcoin also, because versus a dollar or something, because it's trustless and decentralized. And what we mean when we say that, because those are just buzzwords, is that because it is a piece of computer code that anybody with the technical requirements can run on any machine anywhere in the world, and because it is backed not by a government whose elected officials are always changing, but by this code that anybody can see that runs things the way a calculator does math and facilitates the transfer of these assets between people, I mean, it's a lot easier to trust that thing that requires no trust than it is to trust 50 years from now the government is going to do what you want them to do. That the 12 people who decide how much money is in circulation, are going to do what they say, who have more power than you, who are incentivized to abuse it. It's a lot easier to trust this thing. And it's also a lot more attractive, not just to those people whose global currency is like in the toilet. It's attractive that this network has stability. The more people who use it, the more people who believe in it. That makes it stronger too. It's an unprecedented way. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in. Can you guys hear me? Because I changed to Bluetooth. I want to make sure everybody can hear me all right.
Loud and clear.
We can.
Okay, perfect. So just a little bit, and this is my take on everything, right? So the dollar and the U.S. dollar system as of right now is backed by paper, right? When Nixon decoupled from gold back in, I think it was like 67 or 70s, our U.S. currency went from being backed by gold and you could turn in your dollar notes for gold currency to where you could no longer exchange your dollars for gold. So therefore, every dollar in the United States is backed by notes, paper notes, right? So intrinsically, where is the value there? The value is, as everybody else mentioned, everybody has a belief system in the dollar because it's been known as the world currency for so long. But now you also look at what the government can do whenever they need more money. What do? They bring more into circulation. Now, generally, other than Ethereum, which has the infinite supply and it has a balancing mechanism to where there's a burn associated with every transaction that's on that chain to help balance out that infinite supply, typically there is a fixed circulating supply on each cryptocurrency. Bitcoin has a fixed circulating supply. So whenever inflation or whatever is to happen in the current economic system, because they print more money, it's a ripple effect, right? We're causing a domino effect of problems by printing more money, by then raising the inflation, by then collapsing the economy, by then people not being able to have money to spend because inflation went so high. And then we're fighting this lifelong cycle, this economic battle of where is the happy medium? Now, with Bitcoin and blockchain technology, every single transaction. I mean, you can follow a Bitcoin back to the beginning of its Bitcoin inception on the chain. So what problem does that solve for us? Okay, where does our tax dollars go? You know, how are the federal tax dollars being spent per each state, and is it being done in a way that benefits the people? As of right now, I think we can all agree in this room, no, right? we struggle. And if we got a portion of our tax dollars that went back to our ecosystem and to our livelihood, then we would all live better lives, because we all know that we lose a third of our regular 9-to-5 paycheck due to it. So, you know, there's so many different, there's just so many different reasons that Bitcoin provides value for me. I mean, Evan mentioned trustless, transparency, fixed supply, so we can do away with inflation. I mean, there's so many different benefits. And then also, my last point on this is, if you look at even back to Benjamin Franklin, right, when he first captured electricity, and as they say in a 1840 something article or 1700s article, whatever it was, they said that he was testing the Almighty by calling the lightning down from the sky. And then they said that now we play with electricity and put it into our children's toys as if it were inert matter. People were scared of electricity and what it would do to the world. Alexander Graham Bell, people were scared of the telephone and what it would do to the world. Credit card payment systems, people were scared of it and what it would do to the world. And they laughed. And now we look at how they've painted Bitcoin and they've painted cryptocurrencies and some of the technologies and blockchain and digital currencies that have the opportunity to change the world. Oh, it's a scammer ecosystem. It's used by terrorists. It'll never amount to anything. And we look at the rise and we look at the shift in power and what is happening around us. So I don't know. I go on rants. I'm so passionate about this stuff. I can talk all day, but I'll be quiet.
I'm glad you did. I want to be clear and concise and make a quick commercial. It is all of these reasons point back to the umbrella reason. It is easy to trust. It is worth money. It is valued by people because it is a computer code that can make commitments that people are not able to make. You don't know in the future if Joe Biden is not going to change his mind, if Mark Zuckerberg is not going to change his mind. You can trust Bitcoin will have value in the future, will do what it says it's going to do because the computer code executes itself. It can make a commitment. And at the same time, all the members of the network can collectively agree to change that commitment, the terms and conditions together. So it is unprecedented in that ability. And that's what makes all of this stuff different and gives any of it the potential to have value, whether it's a piece of money or a social protocol like Warpcast, because the computer can make commitments. Networks doing what networks were always designed to do. The commercial is this. We will never send you a direct message. We will never ask you for money. The only thing I will try to sell you is a premium membership and a Rise Up coffee mug, okay? If you get a message from anybody who looks like us, anybody who sounds like us, a deep fake using our voices. I don't know if you guys saw that video with Blockchain Boy. Oh my God. Saying, hey bro, how's your investment going? How's your time in the market been? Do you want an investment opportunity? Whatever. I don't care. I've got free Bitcoin for you. Here's a link. Don't click it. It's not us. These are our only profiles. Go ahead and tap them now. Give them a follow. And while you've got your thumbs up ready, do me a favor and give that little screen to tap because it's free and it helps the algorithm know that unlike the influencers who try to scare you, we just want to help you. Get connected to other people and resources, okay? We can't say it enough. Don't fall for scams. If you need a place to get into a community of folks that you can ask questions who aren't going to shill, aren't going to scare you, aren't going to shame you, jump into the Discord community. Find all the links for the Rise Up Morning Show at theriseupmorningshow.com. And then when Conversations with Evan.1 approaches you and says, hey, bro, got a good investment for you, you can come in the Discord and you can say, hey, Evan, is this you? And I will tell you no. All right? Let's keep each other safe. That's how we rise up together. What are you guys seeing in the comments? I know it's getting about to be our time, so don't let me rush you. I want to make sure you're well met, but I would defer to the group here. What kinds of questions do we want to address? Things do we want to share as we get ready to pack the show up and send our ponies on the road?
I have a couple points that came up that are just hard to type in comments. There was a few things just about, lack of faith in the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is like the next one to go. And anyone who's heard me rant knows I'm not, like hyper bullish on the U.S. dollar, but it is at least worth being objective about a couple things. Even if the only thing backing the U.S. dollar is the U.S. military, that's a pretty powerful motivator. Okay, I don't know if you're hyper familiar with, military capability, but even in my little corner of the military, it was a constant running joke that, like, we, the Coast Guard, could topple a government based on the comparison between like how we're equipped and how other people are equipped. So yes, that may be the case, that the dollar has most of its value because of the might of the United States as an entity, but that's a pretty considerable might, and that's why that it is the way that it is. I would push back a little bit on the idea that if crypto is backed by gold, it would rocket, because there is a crypto backed by gold, and it has barely any volume, and no one talks about it ever. I would hazard a guess that most people don't even know it exists. And gold, historically, is pretty stable.
Big
as a
flash there too.
Yeah, for sure.
Gold people are
For sure.
Are you talking about Paxos? Are you talking about Paxos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Barely anyone knows that that thing exists. It's for anyone who doesn't know, Paxos, PaxG, is a stable coin pegged to the cost of 1 ounce of gold. And it is relatively flat. Like if we pull it up, all time, it's up like, not quite 2x ever. 2x.
What's the 24-hour volume, Alex? What's the 24-hour volume on it?
Roughly $2 million.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think it's going to take something like a global cooperative bank to implement something like that. Like something that on a global scale, global currency, like Mac was maybe mentioning earlier on in the show before I was on, to really provide the, drive the incentive to utilize a platform like that. Like it would, for me, it would have to exist inside of an ecosystem and have incentives to use it. And people need to understand the value of gold more as well.
That's kind of what WorldCoin is pushing for, but they spooked some people out with their Oracle technology that it scans your iris.
Yeah, and to Mac's point as well. It's a competing narrative, right? That like one of the reasons that Bitcoin has historically outperformed gold by a factor of 2 million to 1.
I mean,
or
it's
something.
big. If you look at the chart, gold is like this, Bitcoin's like this. It's bad for gold.
Yeah, no, I think the last figure to put it in perspective was if you bought $1 of gold and $1 of Bitcoin on the day Bitcoin was a thing, you would be a centimillionaire in Bitcoin, and you would have $2 in gold, which tells you all you need to know. However, sorry, Joe, you've got a crazy echo over there. Which, of course, there's different reasons that gold is a thing, right? Like it's also scarce, not as scarce. It has other purposes. People use it for stuff. However, one of Bitcoin's reasons over it, like the digital gold idea, is like, yeah, but to move $20 million worth of Bitcoin, I can put that on a flash drive in my pocket. To move $20 million worth of gold, I need a fleet of semi-trucks, a tremendous amount of money for oil and labor, and the people that need to be involved in that, and then all of the customs arrangement. Like it's just simply nonsense.
Hey, Alex, can I hop in? Because I gotta run and get a haircut real quick.
Bullish.
I just yeah, I know. Alex, when's the last time you got a haircut, pal?
It's been many months.
Good one.
Since the deep bear. Anyways, I just want to say it was good talking to you guys. Of course, I love being up here on Tuesdays on panel day. So thanks for having me. And a big congratulations to Evan. You did say it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can say it on this stream.
Fuck.
We're
Wait,
good.
I'm pretty
We're
sure
good.
you said it on the show yesterday, but Aaron.
Yeah,
So-
you shouldn't post about it, like on my other socials in case somebody in Memphis is. We haven't told anybody in Memphis yet, so.
Okay. Well,
But
what
yeah,
do you think?
right.
Chop. What are you guys doing? Pigeon mail? But Evan is an honest man. A woman has made an honest man out of Evan, so he is no longer on the market. Sorry for all you floozies out there, hoping that you could score this rugged Shakespearean eloquent man. But he is engaged to the most beautiful woman. So I'm so happy for you both. Last thing I'll just say in regards to crypto is that. I think that now more than ever, the law of diminishing returns needs to be taken into consideration. Each successive bull run has brought diminishing returns for investors, and now this bull run has had millions of coins created, and I don't know what it is daily, but there's tens of thousands of new coins created every day, which is soaking up people's money instead of going into good projects that actually have solid foundations. So what that means is that I think that everyone should temper their expectations for how much money they're hoping to get this bull run compared to last. Don't think that just because you made 10x or 20x in the last bull run, you'll make it in this one. I would be more conservative in this bull run, and even with the ETF driving, excitement to Bitcoin and everything like that, we've seen, A, most of the money is made in altcoins, not Bitcoin, and B, the altcoins are getting absolutely hammered right now. So I think now is a pretty dire time to get into altcoins in terms of they're down, so you could potentially make a good return if they turn around, but just be conservative with your selling is all I would say to consider, because, if there's only so much money to go around and half of it's going into shit coins and celebrity coins, then your coin isn't going to go up as much as you hoped, potentially.
Well said. Thank you for joining us. And do be sure to follow Mac if you aren't already, and catch him on TikTok. He's here. We'll see you later, brother. Say hi to everyone at the house board.
If anyone's in Miami and wants to network, I'll be here for a month or two.
There you go.
I might. I'll send me a DM. Peace, guys.
Bye.
Peace, guys.
Will do.
Joey, as we round things out, I think that's probably a good time to kind of, start to pack up our show. Remind folks that we're here Monday through Thursday. You can catch us at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Ask us your crypto questions and join us in the Discord where the show lives 24/7. You can find all the links to Discord, to the weekly newsletter with the tips, links, all that stuff, the YouTube channel, and anything else we do at the riseupmorningshow.com. We would love to have you as part of this community regularly. Joey's there, Alex is there, Mac's there, I'm there. And let me say, Joey, man, the invitation's open for anybody in Miami, but do you have any other final thoughts, questions, concerns, good jokes, words of wisdom for us?
No, I just wanted to say it's really a pleasure to come up here and speak with you guys. You two are like a light that we want to see in the space, right? Like, it gives me chills saying it because we come into contact with so many negative, nefarious characters and bad actors. And it's really my dream, and it's been my passion since I've come into the crypto space to find people like you guys, network with you, and then together, collaboratively, we build a better space for individuals that are coming in and be that bridge the gap between crypto and mass adoption. So it's really just a pleasure, and thank you for having me up, guys. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and I look forward to growing with you guys as a team.
Same, man. Thank you for being here, for adding to the community, and honestly to everyone in the community for being the best part of what we do. I know you feel the same, right?
Yeah, it would quite simply be nothing without everyone here. So that's the reason that it has any value whatsoever.
That's right. We are up only as long as people are only going up with us, kind of thing. That's why it's called the Rise Up Morning Show. Otherwise, we'd just be two guys that people think look alike in the same pair of glasses, hanging out. We would be here anyway doing this. But I'm bullish. I'm definitely bullish. What do you think, Alex? What's on your mind? We've had a really wide-ranging conversation today.
Yeah.
We've navigated a lot of space, and I know you got a lot of thoughts behind your glasses. So I'm gonna turn it over to you as we close the show out to really bring us home, share your thoughts, and put a nice ribbon in this for us.
Yeah, no, I would echo it. I'd say, Joey, thank you for taking the time to come up and chat. Appreciate getting different perspectives. That's always fun. If you are in the audience and you would also like to come up and we don't know you, haven't talked to you, just reach out and start up a conversation. That's the only thing we require to bring you up. We've been burned before, so we just need to get to know you a little bit first. My rapid fire closing thoughts based on some comments. I'm perma bearish on influencer meme tokens. They're all illegal. I've never seen.
When is Caitlyn Jenner and Iggy Azalea and Jason Derulo? When is the SEC going to come for them? Because it's only a matter of time, right?
Not soon enough. I've never seen one launch legally, and that should scare people. And none of those people that I've seen have a single clue about what they're actually doing, which is starting a fintech company with no cybersecurity experience, no legal counsel, no accounting advice, no department, no board, no business understanding, all that sort of stuff. So just perma bearish. If you like memes, there's better memes. Those people are not your friends. And actually, if you want proof of that, one of the most egregious offenders is the crypto bastard guy. And he said the quiet part out loud in the video, which I commented and he conveniently ignored, which is, what's the first step to launching your own crypto? Get followers. And I was like, bro, it was funny because it's the first honest thing he said about his token, that the only reason anything is moving is because he has followers. And it's like, because you're grifting on your audience. So of course you need an audience to grift before you can grift your audience. So, way to go, dipshit. Best of luck, bon voyage. And if you're up on that thing, get out. The next, not to end on the, end on the brutality, but just again, big fan of this, of us. I appreciate all of you guys coming on and hanging out and doing stuff and whatever. We'll see you guys in the Discord. I'm now back at home and back to normal, at least for a little bit here. Stoked. I missed the show. And Evan, of course, congratulations. Very excited for you guys. And then lastly, E17 I respect the attempt to get the pick out of me. I will say, though, that we do talk quite a bit about the things that we have convictions in. It's, of course, all underpinned by the disclaimer that they may be bad investments. Because, for example, I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, VeChain. VeChain is a great example. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm using it as an example. I'm not saying go buy VeChain. VeChain is a cryptocurrency that's probably a pretty bad investment, but it's undeniably doing what it said it was going to do, and very few people care. So just remember that the things you can have convictions in, you can have convictions for different reasons. I trust that VeChain will keep doing its thing. It'll keep doing its job. I would not recommend that I don't recommend anyone buy anything, but I wouldn't recommend looking at VeChain for great investment returns because it's doing its thing and nobody cares. So just think about it that way. So while I'm not going to tell you my pick for the day or to go buy X, Y, or Z, I'll say the same shit that I've been saying for months, which is that attention is what matters. Look and see what has the most attention. Look and see where all the users are going. Look and see where people are trying to get into and build stuff. Look and see which foundations are incentivizing builders to come over by, one, making the environment easier to build in, and two, paying them to do it. Because all of these companies have billions of dollars, which is insane. And if they're not willing to give that to the people who are going to make their ecosystem stick around, I'm so bearish on them as an organization. It's not even funny. So look for the ecosystems with the biggest grant programs that are actually giving them out. And then look and see if anyone is taking them up on that and adding stuff. And that is where I would put my attention. So with that, I am well met. And I look forward to seeing all you guys in the same time, in the same place tomorrow morning.
And that's why I do a show with Alex. Right there is chef's kiss. My friends, we'll be back Join us in the Discord. If you have trouble, at the link in my bio, at the link in Alex's bio, or at the riseupmorningshow.com, don't fret, don't sweat. Send us a message. We will get you in there. As long as, of course, you're sending us the message. That's Conversations with Evan, Alex Popovic, Alex at Faceless Labs, or something like that. Follow us quickly because the scammers, they're out there. We will help you get involved, get connected, and stay tuned to that because we've got a lot more opportunities. I know I've been teasing it for a long time, but we've finally I've got some classes ready to go. We've got opportunities for coaching ready to go. We want to make it super accessible for everybody who wants to engage more deeply, learn a specific topic like how do I build conviction? How do I manage a portfolio? What is Web3? How do I swap tokens? Or what is DeFi? What is an automated? All these things, we got classes coming up for them that you can take to learn, to engage, to grow, to rise up. So stay tuned for that. The way to find out about it is in the Discord community that's at the links in our bio or at the riseupmorningshow.com. All that is coming. Alex and I are putting pins in that and hopefully making announcements about it this week. I'm so excited about it. We're so excited to have you here. And my friends, we hope you have a great day. Until next time, everybody, rise up.